Welcome back to Unleashing You. In this special bonus series, I am highlighting the panelists who will be speaking at the Unleashing You live event in Denver, Colorado on February 26th. In this episode, I speak with Mallory McCoy. Mallory is a multifaceted entrepreneur who is filled with passion and truly magnetic energy. I think you will feel that right away as you listen to today's episode. In this conversation, Mallory and I talk about her journey to finding herself and how she learned to live without apology. Get ready to feel lit up and inspired as we dive into today's convo. Before we begin, I want to make sure that you have the Unleashing You retreat on your radar, because just the fact that you're tuning into this podcast means the Unleashing You retreat is right up your alley. The reason I created the Unleashing You retreat is because as women, we tend to look to everyone else for the answers. We somehow think that everyone else knows better than we do, when in reality, tapping into your own intuition is actually the key to living a happy and fulfilled life. And that's how I've created the career and life I have now, and what we'll teach you how to do during this retreat. An inner shift like this will leave you with tools that you'll use for the rest of your life. This retreat is so much more than a girls' trip. This is a transformation. If I've piqued your interest, I want to personally invite you to join us in Steamboat Springs, Colorado on September 19th through the 22nd. During our time together, we will go through coaching workshops and other deep personal development activities that will uncover aspects of yourself you never even knew. Work like this would take months or years to do on your own, and we're going to get you there in just a few short days. Not to mention, we'll be staying in a gorgeous mountain home, complete with a private chef, so you don't have to lift a finger. If you are ready for a pampering getaway where you can recharge your batteries and feed your soul, send me a message on Instagram or visit acrprofessionalcoaching.com to learn more and reserve your spot. Spots are very limited, so do not wait. And I'll see you in the mountains. Now, let's get on to today's show. Welcome to Unleashing You. This podcast is your permission slip to create success your way. I'm your host, Amanda Riffey, a certified success coach and female business leader who has climbed her way up the corporate ladder. I've been through burnout and back and found the tools to bring fun and enjoyment to my career while creating powerful results and leading in a way that feels authentic to me. This show brings you conversations with women just like you who have created massive success for themselves and are doing it in their own way. We'll hear about their personal journeys of growing their career while still prioritizing the things they love most. If you are ready to be challenged and encouraged to reach your next level, then buckle up, sister, because the road to dreamy success begins here. Let's dive in. Mallory, welcome to Unleashing You. I am so excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And hello to the listeners.
Yes. And for anyone listening, Mallory is not just a guest on the podcast, but is also going to be a panelist at the Unleashing You live event in Denver in February. So really excited for that. And really, Mallory, I just wanted to be able to give the listeners just a taste of your story and your background and your mission. So then when we see you at the event, we already feel like we know you.
I love that.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump in. One of the things I love about you is that you have your hands in a lot of things. So can you tell us just a little bit about your story and your career so far?
Yes, of course. So you are right. It is a very complex operation I run here. I come from humble beginnings. Actually, the listeners don't know, but you and I crossed paths already in this life. We went to elementary and middle school together in Winsville, Missouri. And then I decided that I was going to go to college in Kansas City. So I ended up in Kansas City in 2003, got my bachelor's in music education, went straight into the music education career and taught for 14 years. And I got my master's while I was teaching. And then I am now currently working on my doctorate. I quit teaching. And then now I'm a mother. I'm a plant mom. I'm a forever educator. So even though I quit teaching, I still do substitute teach. I'm a vocalist. I'm an oral creative. I love making music. I'm a children's choir director, a Black woman scholar, a leader, an advocate, storyteller. I have my own personal blog. I'm a mobile and remote online notary. So I witness very important signatures. I'm a real estate owner and a real estate property manager. I'm just a multi passionate person.
Yes,
I spread myself thin. So
yes, you are. And I think that is probably the best way to explain it is multi-passionate. I mean, and I know you could have added even more things to that list for sure. And one of the things that I'm sure stuck out to a lot of people is your teaching career and the longevity in that. And then, making that switch to, okay, I'm in teaching and this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I'm going to do probably until I retire, to all of those things that you just listed. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you decided to move from a full-time teaching position to exploring some of those other passions that you have?
well, I tell you, it was really divine intervention on my end because I was just programmed to, I come from a family of workers. My dad, when he graduated high school, he went straight on the line and he worked there for 37 years and he did the same job for 37 years. And my mom, she was the homemaker. And so she stayed at home and raised kids. So I really just didn't have a vision of anything other than when you graduate, whatever you decide to do, you go into it and you stick to it. And I really think that also our school system grooms us to do that too. It's like choose one path, do that path for the rest of your life till retirement, and then, retire and free. So I didn't have any other thing in my mind to do but teach. And I was placed into teaching for a reason because I now know the effect that I've had on people just by teaching. Teaching really is a soul thing. It's a ministry. But also if you're an energy like myself who's very giving of a lot of energy, it can be really draining. So that was really the starting point is when I felt myself becoming so over inundated with things while I was teaching that I was coming home and I was just hitting the couch and I was just zoning out by watching TV. So that was my first indicator. Then the pandemic hit. And the pandemic, while for some was it was a tumultuous time for me too. There was a lot of life change happening at that time. My husband asked me for a divorce. My dog died. My son was home. I had to learn how to teach music online while learning how to learn from my professors in my doctoral program online as a front of the classroom student. And so it was just the largest transition. But I'm thankful for that because it was like table flip. All the things are in the air. And now I get to create what I want to do. So then that was the second part. But the third part was really the one that hit home for me. So at that point, I'd already decided that I was going to shift out of teaching, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I actually caught the Delta strain of COVID and ended up in the hospital with COVID pneumonia. The pivotal point for me was when I was in the hospital bed on oxygen and with 80% of capacity of my lungs, trying to breathe, my principals were calling me, asking me to write lesson plans. So my husband, who also had COVID, had to bring my laptop to the hospital, but hand it to the nurses because, he couldn't be in the hospital room with me. Hand it to the nurses so that I could write lesson plans while I'm almost dying. And so it was at that point I was like, you know what? If I am so unappreciated, I felt unappreciated at that moment. I felt unseen. I felt like my life didn't matter in the grand scheme of things because the engine of school had to keep going regardless of if I was sick or not. That is when I decided to pivot. And that was the affirmation, the action of you need to do something. Like the universe is showing you what's happening here. And now you are needing to act. So what are you going to do? And as soon as I got out the hospital, I signed those papers to say I'm not coming back for the next school year. And that was scary because I didn't have a plan. I just I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. And it was a complete metamorphosis for myself. Like I didn't know that I was moving myself into a metamorphosis, but that's exactly what was happening, metaphorically speaking. And so the last day that I taught full time was May 23rd, 2022. And then after that, I dove in. I was at home, so I didn't have anything to shield my emotions, what was happening around me. I had to be alone with my thoughts. And so I just went inside myself, turned myself inside out. I had some quote unquote come to Jesus meetings with myself, cried a lot, cried tears from emotions that I couldn't feel while I was teaching or while I was actively working. Because if I felt those feelings while I was working, I didn't know how deep I was going to feel those feelings. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to climb up to be able to do what I needed to do. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
How we put ourselves to the side to do what we're, told we need to do in order to make things happen in our life. So I got to do that.
I think too, what you said around, you kind of added that inflection of I had to be alone with my thoughts. And we all know like that can be scary for a lot of us.
Terrifying.
For that reason, we've pushed things to the side or we don't want to dig deep because we're afraid of what that might uncover. But the transformation that can come from doing that inner work, you and I both know is just invaluable. Like nothing can take that away from you when you make those shifts within yourself.
110 million%. I could not agree more. It is helping me. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Same.
It is helping me to move. Actually, I put the quote up here, the Beyonce quote, step out your estimate and step in your essence and know that you're excellent. I wasn't even able to see who I was because I was so busy trying to be what other people thought or what society thought or what society programmed us to do that I couldn't see myself. I didn't even see the value in my creativeness and, I was stuck in left brain and just a robot. And now it was on my vision board 2 years ago. I had a bird with chains breaking from the bird and the bird was flying away. And I did not know what that meant because I literally just thought it was for my job. But now I know that I physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally released myself when I released what was holding me down.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, I just got chills too. Thank you, Spirit, for affirming me. Yeah, I am just in such a beautiful place of awareness and a beautiful place where I now know that I have intuition and I am like exploring what that feels like and going not second or trying my best to not second guess it. Cause as people pleasers are like, oh, we shouldn't be doing that. But then, the people pleasing part takes over. So I'm just trying to balance that.
Absolutely.
But I'm aware of it to balance it. I wasn't aware of it before, but now I am.
I was literally just on with a coaching client earlier this week, and we were talking about logical brain and, making all of these logical decisions. And, I was like, what's your inside telling you? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know. I spend so much time in that logical brain that I don't even know what that sounds like anymore. And so we were just kind of talking through that intuition piece. And we said it starts out as just the tiniest little whisper. And the more you can listen to it, the more you can lean into it, the louder it will get. But the best way I can explain it is it's like your first instinct. When you need to make a decision, you want to do something, it's like, what's your first instinct? It might be really quick, but then after that is when the logical brain kicks in of like, well, you should do this or you should do that, or this should be, and you start to logic your way out of it. A lot of times it's just that first hit of intuition. And if you can follow that and practice following that, it's not going to steer you wrong.
Yeah. And in my experience, the root of that is trusting yourself. And so I realized that I did not trust myself. And when we don't trust ourselves, we really don't trust others, because someone's mistrust comes from the inability to be able to trust yourself. And so that's also what has grown in me, is that I trust myself to make good decisions. I trust myself to know the difference between I hate good and bad because I hate duality, even though I know duality exists. I believe it's on a spectrum, but I know the variances. That's a better way to say it. I know the variances of what is the right trajectory and what is the wrong trajectory. And I know what it feels like to walk in my womanness, to revere my journey, and to look at it and say, this was a lesson. I don't have any regrets. I don't harbor any regrets, because in all things, whether it be absolutely amazing or put me on the floor crying, the full spectrum was with intention to build who I am today.
Absolutely.
And to see myself for who I am today. So
absolutely.
I'm thankful for it all.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to interrupt for a brief moment to invite you to create success your own way. I am currently enrolling in one-on-one private coaching opportunities. This is for you if you are ready to go all in and see big results. With 4 months of focused time just for you, you will skyrocket your growth and success beyond your wildest dreams. No more dreading Mondays. We'll make every day feel like Friday. Ready for a promotion? Let's do it. Want to start your business? I'm game. Need to find balance between your career and your family? I promise you it can be done. Are you longing to level up your leadership? Well, then let's bring out that badass CEO. Together, we will transform your career and your life into something you are really proud of. Get ready to get back in the driver's seat and create the success of your dreams. And did I mention we will have so much fun along the way? Send me a message on Instagram or head to acrprofessionalcoaching.com to learn more. I'll also put the details in the show notes for you. Your road to dreamy success begins here. Now, back to the episode.
So thinking of this transformed Mallory, one of the things that I have heard you say plenty of times before is take up space. And I think that's so important for us as women to hear and to embrace. So what does that saying mean to you?
Yeah. So as I previously said, I don't think I said it in this context, but I am a big personality. All my life, I've been a big personality, and my smile is big. My actions are big. I gesticulate a lot. I move my hand. My voice is loud and I like to be a center of attention, that dang on Leo Sagittarius with a 5-1 manifesting generator human design. I'm just big, right? In embracing myself as a young girl, I felt like I was always muted. I tried to start that way, but I felt like people would just, mute my spirit because it made them feel uncomfortable. And just in hindsight, fast forward to grownhood, I've lost some friends in that space because it's just, yes, you're too big for me. But I used to be apologetic for it. In fact, I called myself in high school, especially, I was a social chameleon. I was friends with everybody, but they only knew parts of me because I could not show up as my authentic self. I couldn't show up as my big self because my big self made people feel uncomfortable. So I didn't even know like, how do you learn yourself if you can't show up as your whole self in spaces? And so that was also a part of the metamorphosis. I had a huge identity crisis because I had to look at myself and say, who am I? And who do I want to be? Who am I already and who do I want to be? So I'm still on that journey. But one thing at the root of myself is I'm no longer apologizing for who I am. I will show up in every space authentically. And even now, I'm like, I'm not muting myself for the comfortability of somebody else. Case in point, the other day, I'm subbing. And, when I walk into the classroom, it's like I have an alter ego. I'm like Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. I am completely crazy in my classroom. The kids love it because, you get a break from the monotony of the day. Anyway, one of the things I use to introduce myself is I have this whole page, this whole slide. And one of the things is my family and I are plant-based. And so this particular second grade class got into a whole thing and they kept asking me questions. And they were like, well, how do you get protein? What about milk? And I may or may not have said that cow's milk has pus in it, at which I don't say things without having the facts to back it up. I am team facts over fiction. So I don't say things. And then I was like, well, should I? I just deaded it. Well, anyway, a parent contacted the school, was like, she said this. Can you tell her to not to pump the brakes? And I'm like, well, dang, like if I pump the brakes and I'm actually telling the truth, like I can go to the FDA website right now and go to the document of allowed contaminants in food, and that will be on the list. Like, am I saying like I can't teach kids? Because I wasn't trying to sway kids. They were asking me questions and I was telling them the answer. But it was like, if I was actually teaching, then I would be muted in that space to like not even give like information. And this is not like agree or disagree. This is like, well, this is actually it. But I could have made a whole long list of allowed contaminants in food. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, that was another testimony to me to say like, yeah, I muted myself for a long time to fit into people's boxes because for whatever reason, it makes them feel comfortable or they don't maybe have the information that I have. So then they challenge me but I'm not doing that anymore. If you feel intimidated by the information that I have, I am a scholar. So I research a lot. If you feel intimidated, then you go find the information for yourself too. We all have the same amount of hours in the day. If you don't like yourself, change something about yourself, and not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. If you don't like those things, you have the power. Empower yourself to change yourself.
We do. We do have the power. And I think that's really important. And one of the things that you said was, who do I want to become? So often we set goals around what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to do next? What's this thing? And we skip over who do we want to be? Who do we want to become in that process? And then all the doing things fall into place when we really start with who do we want to be next? So that's so important. So Mallory, what do you have your sights set on next? Because as we've mentioned, you've got a lot going on. So what can we expect from you next?
Oh gosh. So I have a personal blog that I started last year, but you can expect new blog posts from me every week that can be found at my website, www.whenmallorylives.com. I divulge a series of topics, but I'm actually going to pull my husband into it because I feel like we need to talk about marriage on a grander scale, being that we're so experienced in the game. And I'm seeing a lot of people out here talking about it, but they haven't experienced it. So let Mal enter the chat for 200. I do have a remote online notary operation. So if you need notarizations from anywhere in the United States of America, I am your girl. Check me out, MalloryMotary.com. I also just started a live stream. I don't want to call it a podcast because it's not a podcast, but I'm live streaming every Monday morning on my YouTube channel, When Mallory Lives, and my Facebook profile, When Mallory Lives. I called it a Monday moment with Mal, when you just come spend some time with me and I talk about a certain topic and you can chime in. But my greater part, the reason why I started it is because there's just so much negativity that we see, not necessarily on Facebook, because, Facebook kind of paints the pretty picture, but I see a lot of negativity and I feel the vibes of a lot of negativity. So my intention behind starting it was just to inject a spirit of gratitude. So I actually even start off by saying like what I'm grateful for that week and then drop some knowledge because I'm team facts. And then I go into the topic of the week. And so I'm really excited about that. And that's actually one of the person I want to be is consistent. And so this is actually going to propel me into a space where I'm consistent. And then I am graduating May 2024 with my doctorate in educational administration, pre-K through 12. And I am very excited about that because I can see the letter that I wrote myself in cursive writing, Miss Herman's class, 4th grade, that I was going to have a doctorate in educational administration. So this is literally a manifestation that I made when I was 9 coming true.
Just to bring all that full circle, we were in that same 4th grade class, and now we are here recording this podcast. Like, mind blown. How does that happen?
Yes. And I said, I have to, because I save stuff. I save stuff. So I have to find that paper because I was like, I have this paper somewhere. And I went through vigorously and I was looking for the paper and I couldn't find it the first time. But things happen when they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
And so I will find it and I'll be able to post it right next to my degree because I manifested it. And I can even see the cursive D. I can see it in my brain because I wrote it in cursive. So
that's fantastic. I love that so much. I love that so much for you. So one last question for you. What would you say to someone who is listening right now and they are considering attending the Unleashing You live event, but maybe they're still on the fence for whatever reason? What do you have to say?
I would like to impart that we are our largest asset and also the longest relationship we have in our lives is with ourselves. And so you owe it to yourself to pour into yourself at any time and to be in the vibration of beautiful, talented, fantastic, goal-driven women who are encouraging and want to push you into a space of unleashing yourself. I think that it's priceless for you to be in the space. So you're actually investing in yourself when you invest in this ticket to come. And furthermore, in my adulthood, I know that your network is your net worth. That's hard to say fast. Your network is your net worth. So not only will you be leaving with valuable tools to help you unlock the next level in your life, but you'll also be increasing your chance of having your name spoken in rooms, baby, that you ain't even walked into yet.
Yes.
That is worth the ticket price in itself.
I need to hire you to be my spokesperson. That's so good. That is so good. Mallory, thank you so much. I know you mentioned a little bit before of where people can find you. So for like, yes, I need to know more about Mallory before the event. You mentioned a couple things, but you want to go ahead and repeat those now of where we can connect with you?
Yes. Whenmallorylives.com. That's my personal blog. You can catch me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitch. I just signed up for Twitch. I felt like an old
Get
person. I
it.
was like, girl, get it. But I'm streaming through Twitch today. You can also catch me on YouTube when Mallory Lives. And then my business, Mallory Motory. If you need notarial services from anywhere in the United States, you can hit me up there. I'm also on Snapchat. I don't get on there very much. I'm on LinkedIn. I get on there, but I'm not very diligent about posting there. Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, those are my spots.
It should be no surprise that you are everywhere for all of the things that you do. And before I knew your human design, and then I saw that you were a manifesting generator, I'm like, yes, she is. Like that is 100% a manifesting generator. So if anyone isn't familiar with human design, we're going to actually do an episode on that here in the future. But
Oh, good.
yes,
Knowing my human design has changed my life too.
absolutely.
It was one of the things that I was able to move into and to getting to know myself. And mine is accurate to a T, the whole thing.
Yes.
And it's also worth its weight to find out your partner's human design so you know how you work together.
Heck yes. I figured it out for my whole family. Make all my friends do it.
Yes, I did my son too. So I did all of us so we know.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a little teaser for human design coming soon. But Mallory, thank you so much for chatting with us today and especially being a panelist at the event. Cannot wait to hear more from you.
I can't wait. I'm just so excited. So
Thank you. We're going to see you soon.
yay.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you'd like to continue this conversation, connect with me on Instagram and say hello. You can find me at AmandaRiffy_coaching. In the meantime, if you know you are ready to step into your next level of success and want to completely accelerate your personal and professional growth, let's work together. I offer one-on-one and group coaching, as well as on-demand self-study options. There's really something for everyone. To learn more, visit my website at acrprofessionalcoaching.com or send me a DM on Instagram and start a conversation. And don't worry, I truly want all of us to succeed, so I promise I will never steer you wrong. Let's create a career and life you love. Chat with you again soon.